What's doing, everybody? I hope everybody's good out there. Welcome to the channel. If you've never been here before, check out plenty of the videos that I have. Hit the subscribe button. Everybody else, welcome back. For those of you that don't know me and have never been here, I served 17 years in the prison system straight. Most of those years in the maximum security prison system in New York State. And what we're going to talk, what we're going to talk about today is an area of the parole board. I'm going to explain two different cases to you. I've done a video on the parole board before. They are a very corrupt system. They are a very difficult system to figure out. And this is going to be about how they choose who they're releasing. You see, to get into the entire parole board and the way it works is very difficult. A lot of the decisions are predetermined, which means they don't base the release on the hearing itself, which is illegal under what's called 259I, which is the law that describes the rules for releasing someone from incarceration at parole. That's called section 259I. And the parole board is supposed to follow that regarding the release of prisoners, but they don't follow it. And it's a big money scheme and system because the state gets paid for every person that they have incarcerated. The federal government gives a lot of money to the state, but only if they have a certain amount of prisoners in custody. If that number of prisoners drops below a certain number, they will cut a lot of the funding to the prison. And right now, the New York prison system has a budget of about 2.1, $2.3 billion with a B, you know. So the not the mayor, I'm sorry, the governor is in charge of the parole board. He's in charge of the release. And so I can get into the whole parole board. I suggest you check out my video that I did on the parole board. I believe it's titled The Corrupt New York State Parole Board. But right now, I'm just going to give you two cases about two people that I know personally to explain to help you understand that sometimes things don't make sense. I'll explain. Let me get right into it. I have one friend who did a lot of time with. His name is Carl, and Carl is sentenced to 50 years to life. Okay, 50 years to life. And what he said, he has right now 27 years served. Okay, I wrote the exact date down. Let me see the exact date. This way I don't make a mistake. Carl has, yes, he's been in prison since 1998. He has 27 years served. He's 68 years old right now, and his parole, he will see the parole board in 2046, 21 years from now. So he's already served 27 years, and he has another 21 years until he goes to the parole board. He was sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. And his charges, he must have killed a few people. That's what you're thinking, right? He didn't kill anyone. Carl's charge was robbery, which is a B felony, and attempted robbery, which is a C felony. The reason Carl got 50 years to life for a robbery charge is because he had a criminal history. He had committed these crimes before. So in other words, they said, we've seen your face a few times for this already. You've done it again. So hold these 50 years right here. And as I said, he's served 27 and he has another 21 years until he goes to the parole board. So he'll be, if he's 68, 78, 88, he'll be 89 years old when he goes to the parole board, if he makes it to 89 years old. And that's for robbery and attempted robbery. My second buddy, and I did time with Carl. I got some stories with Carl. I've done a few stories about him. My other friend, who I did time with, he was sentenced to 25 years to life. He has 25 years served in prison. He just went to the parole board and they granted him release. So he will be released in October, because it takes about 60 days. When you go to your first parole board, they release you within 60 days. So he's leaving in October. His charge were 2 counts of murder in the first degree and arson, which is an A1 felony, which is the worst felony you can get. And there were 2 counts of premeditated murder in the first degree. And I believe, yeah, and arson in the third degree, which is a C felony. And he made parole after serving 25 years. So the reason I explain both of those cases to you is a lot of people would think right away, how does someone who committed a robbery get 50 years to life? They didn't kill anyone. And how does someone who killed 2 people and then had an arson charge on top of that get released at the first parole board after 25 years? See, that doesn't seem logical. Let me explain what their justification would be, the state's justification. They would say that Carl is a persistent felon, and they gave him chance after chance, and finally, the third time, they said, we've had enough of you, so this is the reason you're getting 50 years to life. That seems a little harsh to me. 50 years for robbery. Now, I'm not justifying his crime. I'm not condoning his crime. I don't think he should have been robbing anyone. I think he should have been sent to prison. I think he should have been punished. I think he should have served time. But 50 years for a robbery is pretty extensive. And with the time that they gave him, he's going to die in there for that robbery if something doesn't happen. Because 89 years old when he goes to the parole board. He's not going to make it till 89 years old in prison. So it's basically a death sentence for robbery. Some people will say, well, Carl should have straightened himself out. He should have straightened himself out after he did it once or twice. You know what I mean? He should have straightened himself out and then he wouldn't have got 50 years. I understand that argument. But that doesn't take away the fact that he's going to die in there for the robbery. At this point, at 68 years old, I think you could release Carl and he would probably never commit a crime ever again. I know he wouldn't because I know him. He changed dramatically throughout these years. He's been in prison 27 years. And then you look at my other friend who killed 2 people and then has an arson charge. And you say, why would they let him go at the first parole board? Their justification for letting him go at the parole board is, and I'm not saying this is my justification, I'm saying what they say, is that he had never committed a crime before in his life, ever. He had never been arrested. He had never been even on probation. He had never been in trouble. And this was a one-time incident, very serious incident, a one-time incident where he was withdrawing from drugs. And during that withdrawal, he freaked out and killed 2 people. I don't want to give you the specifics on his case. I'm sorry. He just made parole. He's about to get out. I didn't ask him to discuss his case. That's why I'm not giving you any details, and you have no idea who I'm talking about. I have to be courteous to people as well. So, yeah, there's one people could say they're crazy for letting him go. How did they let go of a guy that killed 2 people and then set fire to everything? I understand this. It's very hard, but that's their justification. Is that unlike Carl, he wasn't a criminal. He doesn't have criminal thinking. He never committed crimes. He was a college student, and what happened is they believe this was a one-time incident, that he doesn't have the pattern of criminal thinking. Okay, and so that's why they're releasing him after 25 years. So some people think it should be the opposite, that they should give Carl the chance because he didn't kill anyone, and take my other friend and leave him in prison because he killed 2 people. He should stay in there a little longer. So sometimes the parole board, as corrupt as they are, in particular cases, looks at the circumstances and the specifics of those cases. There are cases that stand out, you know. So I just wanted to give you a little idea of how the parole board works and throw those two cases in front of you so you could have a little understanding. And I just wanted to hear your comments about it so we can get some dialogue going back and forth and tell me what you think about those. That's why I'm making this video. I wanted to know what you guys think about those two cases. And don't worry about being blunt with me. Speak openly, speak bluntly. I want to hear what you have to say and hear your opinions, and I'll give you mine in return. All right, guys? All my best. I'll talk to you later. I'm still in Florida on vacation. That's why my background is different right now. And I'll be going back home to New York in a few days. And I appreciate the support of you guys. Love you guys. Thank you for sticking with me. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit that subscribe button and check out some of my videos. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Peace.